In this video, we're looking at the order of operations as well as substitution. So two things we're focusing on. The first one we're going to focus on is the order of operations and just some of the rules that are around how we do this. So the first one is if you ever have brackets, you do that first. The next part is if you have any powers, you do that second. Finally, you do any multiplication or division, but you always go from left to right. And then lastly, it's addition and subtraction, again, left to right. So below here we have an example, and we're going to solve this. So the first thing I look for is any bracketed areas. So we have minus 2 plus 4 in brackets, and then times 3 squared minus 5 divided by negative 5. Now you may think, well, what about these brackets over here? All right, those brackets aren't there for anything other than to say, hey, this is a negative. All right, so just remember that's a negative. We're not talking about those brackets when we say do brackets first. We're talking about where you have something like plussing, timesing, dividing, subtracting in brackets, such as the first one that's written in red. So we're going to do that first. So that ends up being 2. And then we're going to do, the next thing we're going to do is any powers. So we have this part next. Like that. So we're going to do that next. So we got equals. I'll just write this one fully out. Like that. So we're going to do our multiplication and division next. So we're actually going to go and do our 2 times 9 and our 5 divided by negative 5, ignoring the subtraction just for now. So now that we've got that, we end up with 18 take away negative 1. So now we're going to deal with those two negatives. Now remember, if you have two negatives like that, they make a positive because they're the same sign. So we end up with 18 plus 1, which is 19. So that's your order of operations. Brackets, then powers, then multiplication, division, and lastly, adding, subtracting. All right, next thing we're going to quickly look at is substitution. So these expressions, which is just like your a plus 5b, that's an expression, they can be evaluated by substituting or changing the letters or pronumerals for numbers. And usually we're given those numbers. So here's our example. We have a equals negative 2, b equals negative 3, and we need to solve a plus 5b. So what this means is we're literally just going to change any a's in it are going to change to negative 2, and any b's in it are going to change to negative 3. So we end up with down here negative 2, because that a is now negative 2, plus 5 times, remember 5b is 5 times b, it's 5 times negative 3. And then we do our order of operations, which means we're going to do any multiplication, well, brackets first, which we don't have. Then we do any powers, which we don't have. And next we do multiplication, division, so we can do that. So we're going to do that part first. And then we're going to look at, oh, this is a plus minus here, so they're different signs, so we end up with a negative. And then we can solve this to get negative 17. Because remember, if you have a negative number and you're taking away more, it becomes a bigger negative number.